Yeah, I mean, I talk to people all the time, especially I talk to young people, and when I would speak at whether I was in somewhere like Newark or something, I would tell these young men and women, listen, happiness is before money.
Fantastic.
The money comes, but
Sure.
it's not, oh, money and then I'll be happy.
Correct.
No, you got to be happy before the money.
Right.
And then the money comes and it allows you to do certain things, and it'll give you some time freedom and things like that.
Right.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Ultimate Ambitions. Today, I am honored to be graced with the presence of Kyle Trueblood. This is a gentleman that has had quite a journey and is just, I want to say he's at a point where he's probably just getting ready for the next chapter, the next iteration. And for those of you who are kind of at that point where you're like, oh, I wonder if I can make this jump, make this leap, I think you're going to get a lot of gems out of today's episode based on what Kyle's story and his background and where he's even going next, what he's done, what he's accomplished. So, Kyle, thank you for being here.
I gotta say that was probably the best introduction I've ever had. Really.
Well, it's all true, so it's easy.
You put my life into context better than I did, honestly. I'm good. How you doing, man?
Good, doing well.
Yeah,
doing well.
yeah.
So, learning you're a fellow Jersey guy.
Yeah. We just learned this like 2 seconds ago.
Like
yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
So where in Jersey?
North Edison.
Okay.
JP Stevens. What about you?
Spotswood.
No way. Okay. Spotswood.
Yeah, right next to Highland Park.
Yeah,
East
yeah.
Brunswick.
We were so close.
Yeah.
We're talking like 15 miles away from each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
So born and raised there?
Born and raised in Jersey, then went to college in Wagner in New York City.
Yeah, of course.
And then 4 years of off-Broadway, which was very annoying to my parents because I just got an international business degree, and they were like, I just threw it away, went right to off-Broadway, and then 10 years in LA.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So were you doing the international business degree just to like appease them?
Yeah. And an all honest answer, you're 18 years old. I don't think any 18-year-old, well, some have to. I'm going to put that first, but it wasn't necessarily something. I was just interested in playing football and getting in some commercials that I could, because there was a few agents interested at like 18 or 19, and then they were like, you have to do school if you're going to play football. I was like, all right, fine. Yeah. And let's get a degree that, can help me if and so again, like you said, it was appeasement. It was a business move, but I do wonder. I'm hesitating because I said this about 2 months ago and it really upset my parents, which is a good thing. When you're really going for your dreams, sometimes your parents are so protective, they're never going to see anything 100% your way, and it's going to butt heads because protective means stability. Yeah. And that's not something that you necessarily can afford when you're trying to get to, like you said, the next level. Yeah. It's more about trust and potential. But I said to them about 2 months ago, I think if I had just not gotten the degree and put myself in a real do or die situation, I wonder where I'd be. I wonder if I'd be farther along or not. And they were like, you don't, they freaked out about it. But yeah. And I'm definitely grateful for it. But in this point in my life, I'm all about just putting myself. I have a saying right now. It's called I'm putting myself in the streets. Yeah, because I don't want to be comfortable. I'm not like, if you're comfortable Monday and Tuesday, but then you get upset on Wednesday about where you're at, you got to really look down deep inside on what your daily habits are. And if you really want that thing that upsets you so much on a Wednesday or on a Saturday when you see a Lamborghini drive by. Yeah. It's not about the money. Yeah. And so.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to people all the time, especially I talk to young people, and when I would speak at whether I was in somewhere like Newark or something, I would tell these young men and women, listen, happiness is before money.
Fantastic.
The money comes, but it's not, oh, money and then I'll be happy.
Correct.
No, you got to be happy before the money.
Right.
And then the money comes and it allows you to do certain things, and it'll give you some time freedom and things like that. Right. And I also tell people, don't let geography dictate your happiness, because if you could be living in Alaska where it's cold and miserable or whatever, and Alaska's a beautiful place. Well, I'm just saying, weather-wise. Right. But you could also be miserable on Hawaii.
Facts, I mean.
Right? It doesn't really matter. So your geography doesn't dictate that either. Right. So in your time where you did the off-Broadway, I'm sure that was just grinding, right?
It was it was grinding. Like I would say I'm grinding more now. Like the more I enjoy, I turn up the grind a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right? Because like there's always that thing at the end of the tunnel, but it's never reachable, right? It's a carrot in front of your face. You want to get more. You want to get more. Like if I looked at where I'm at now 10 years ago, I'd be like, yo, you made it. But now I'm like, I am nowhere. You know, it's all a matter of perspective and like just, you know, you're changing along with your environment. You know, you're evolving and your environment's evolving, I should say. So I'm talking in a sense of people really trying to better their lives, not someone that just feels comfortable where they're at. So, and that's a different language. And I hope I'm making sense to those people. Yeah. But you kind of just want to focus on where you're at and just keep going in a nutshell.
When you were at that, let me say in that season of your life where you never throw your college degree away. You know, you did it, you have it, you know, it's
I still use it.
Yeah, it's there. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you're now going into this place where you're like, okay, I'm deviating. What was your greatest fear of that? Going into that is saying, you know what, I'm gonna go into the Broadway thing.
Okay.
You know?
Was there any fear? I wish there was some fear.
You're like, wait, I should have been a little bit more fearful of what I was doing.
I'm not kidding. I mean, I was like reckless abandon. I can say that the one thing I'm very grateful for, we all get like little licks of genius in our lives and we run with it. And mine was, you're only 19 once, dude. Yeah. And I really felt that. I really felt like from 19 to 25, dude, this is the time to just do like something crazy, you know? And so there really was no fear because it felt like I had a lot of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I got a lot of that out of the way, a lot of the footwork out of the way. Okay. And it almost felt, I'll tell you a story. This is going to explain the fear factor. It was my last football. I played D1 football for 4 years. And
at Wagner?
Yeah, at Wagner. Okay. And, you know, it was a big thing for me. People thought, you know, they wanted me to go pro. I got an offer from Arena. It was a big thing. I had a couple conference awards. And I just like, after the last game, the next day, I just never thought about it again. And people were, never again. No regrets. I had it with the injuries and the time commitment. Yeah, it was my third favorite hobby, football, and it was taking up my prioritized time. Okay. So I was really happy to just get that out of the way. Started reading monologues right away, and I found with about a day or two of research who got Tom Cruise started, and she happened to be in Yonkers, which is in New York. Yeah, do some research, talk to some people, get an audition with her. Right. I drive this is it for me. Like I'm like fresh out. I'm 21. It's my senior year of college. I just finished the football season. I'm like, this is it. This is how I get to the next level, right? Yeah. I drive all the way to Yonkers. I'm nervous. I'm so nervous as hell. I could curse, thanks. Yeah. And I couldn't curse on my last show. And you know, I sit down and I'm nervous. She goes, "Can you stop squeaking the chair?" It was like a roller coaster from there. It was like I just plummeted. My feelings, my emotions, my composure, my confidence, everything just plummeted. Yeah. And she's like, "Can you stop squeaking your chair?" I was like, yeah, sure. And I did the monologue. I did about 2 sentences, and she goes, "I'm gonna stop you."
I've had that happen.
Right. And she goes, "You're really boring." Mind you, I'm still in college. I hadn't had like any acting experience. I'm just like pushing myself into it. Yeah. And this is my first experience of an audition. She goes, "You're really boring. Here's a coach. Get out of my office," basically. Like it was very short, very cutting. And I was in like a catatonic state, like the whole drive home. Yonkers back to Staten Island's like an hour and a half drive. Yeah. I didn't turn on the music. It was one of those drives. Yeah. Silence, right? Yeah. And I'm just like thinking to myself. And then by the time I had parked, I had this extreme like bliss over me. Yeah. And I was so curious on where this happiness was coming from, but it was undeniable that like that was the worst rejection I was ever going to get. And I still wanted to do it. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to succeed because nothing's going to stop me. I don't know when I'm going to succeed, but I'm going to succeed because I don't want to stop. And that's the worst rejection I ever got. I'm great. I'm doing great. And that I tell people that story in preparation for rejection. Yeah. To understand how to take it and where to plug it into your own like wants and needs. You know, people try to forget rejection, and it's like be proud you overcame it.
That would have like crushed 99% of people.
And that's what I felt.
Like 99% of people would have been like, "I'm done. I'm just let me just go back, finish school,
right,
and just go like find a job, like with like business."
But it felt abnormal. If you feel that, it doesn't have to be acting. Whatever it could be in your life. If you feel that abnormal feeling, and I gotta be, I don't think I'm anything special. I feel like everyone has the same emotions, just at different times. Yeah. And I think you're going to feel that at some point, or you have felt that at some point, and to really respect that.
Yeah.
That's your calling.
So that just kind of lit a fire.
I was unstoppable from then on. Like, you could tell me no, you could literally tell me no 1 billion more times. I'll do 1 billion and one. Let's do it.
Yeah. So that was, the age old saying, what if the worst thing that ever happened to you ended up being the best thing that ever happened to you?
And it happened. I was trying to buy a car. Car salesman was like so lying, deceitful, wasn't working out.
Yeah.
Saved me from buying it. I got a much better car.
No kidding.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So it's that progression.
It's just, life. I don't want to sound too guru-ish and make you chase the back of your head, but it is that these negative things, you have to overcome them. There's a positive waiting on the other side of that door.
Yeah.
Much easier said than done.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because in the moment, it's like devastating.
Devastating.
It's, like, crushing.
And to be honest, it's okay to be catatonic or still. You don't have to do something right away.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
Yeah. That's
I
actually a great gem, because a lot of times when things like that would happen to me,
mm-hmm.
I would try to just get past it fast.
Yes.
And that's huge. Just sit with it.
Yeah.
Just sit with it.
Sit with it, dude.
Just sit with it for a moment.
It's not going to stay. And you know what I mean? Like, just feel the full thing.
Yeah.
And really get to a peace of mind for yourself. Don't fight it. Don't fight the rejection.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you move on from that and you say,
Right.
like, I'm going to continue into the Broadway world.
Fast forward 6 months later, I'm getting booked in an off-Broadway play. And I never did any acting classes. It was just popped in. I took a jog before the audition.
Really?
And the off-Broadway theater, real off-Broadway theater, is very cutthroat. It's almost kind of emotionally damaging.
Yeah.
'Cause, like even if you get the part, you're still emotionally damaged. Like, oh my God, what happened to all those people? So like you walk into a room and there's like 200 actors.
Yeah.
And then they'll walk around the room, look at you, and then just hand you slips of paper on which roles they're going to want you to read for.
Yeah.
And you read them in front of everyone, in front of all 200 actors, a couple directors, a couple producers.
Yeah.
And one by one, they just start telling people to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine trying to do a role knowing like you could be X factored out right after you're done.
Yeah.
And it's very blatant. Usually for an actor, it's like, thank you so much, we'll give you a ring. And you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't, but this was like, you knew right then and there, right after you finished speaking, whether you were going to be in or not. So,
and you didn't have an agent, so were you
No.
like using Backstage?
No,
That's what I was using.
So I tried Backstage and I was like, this is horrible, man. This is just like for the birds. So and I'll say this, you're trying to get anywhere, build relationships.
Yeah. Yo, huge.
Build relationships.
Huge.
And I got to attest, I learned this from Mr. Andy Waldman.
Okay.
I think you met him yesterday, the
Yes.
producer from Michelle's show.
Yes.
So with the business degree, and I still work with a lot of insurance companies, not for sales, but I contract and calculate with them sometimes. Just, I have a very transactional attitude, and he was like, Kai, I know you build relationships all the time, but you put forth this transactional attitude. And I was like, you're right. I should step back and really allow just the vulnerability of a relationship attitude to come forth. And it really helps.
Yeah.
It really helps. Yeah. I was like, I need headshots. Met a photographer, talked to him. He was like, oh, there's this like play around the corner. You might like it. And that's what it was. That's how I found out. And then he told me to emailed the guy. He was like, yeah, sure, try it out. Showed up. And then he was like, I like you. And I ended up being one of the leads in the play for like a 3-month run.
No kidding.
Right across the street from Madison Square Garden. It was like, but let's move forward. Because during that time, I also booked an Ellen DeGeneres commercial. Now, this is my first 6 months out of college.
Okay.
At that point, I think everything is this easy.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can go get the lead actor thing. I can go get the commercial. I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's live more life, right?
Yeah.
No. I had it easy at first, and then I got my butt kicked a little bit.
Okay.
I started getting my nose. You know what I mean? I started getting a couple no's here and there, and I was just like, and it wasn't getting through. And a few actors used to get upset with me because I'd be the guy that was like, I could play a French person. No kidding. And there's no way you could tell me otherwise. Like, and people are like, no, they'll just go get a French person. I'm like, no, they won't, because my emotions and my truth telling within the story is going to be better than any French person can. They're not going to go get him just because he's French.
Yeah.
They're going to get me because of the storytelling ability.
Yeah.
And then the actors were like, that's just because you never heard no before, man. And I didn't even know how to take that. And it was true. I didn't understand rejection at that point. Yeah. And that really came once I got to LA. New York was a bunch of yeses. LA was more of like, earn it. But here you go.
if you had that success in New York, what made you say, I got to go to LA?
Not enough. I hit a glass ceiling.
Explain that.
I'm not a big play guy. I'd never wanted to do plays, but I did think I needed to get my feet wet and do what was accessible to me. I think it's much harder to be cast in a film than it is in a play, especially an off-Broadway play, personally.
Yeah.
And that's just how the cookies crumbled. I knew there was a bunch of film agents, and I got a General Hospital role from a play that I did in LA.
Really?
Yeah, so I was very aware that like a lot of these guys that want to cast like that, they want to cast like they just discovered someone, they're looking at plays.
Really?
There's another little tidbit for you actors. Yeah, they're looking at plays.
Okay.
Because a play is the ultimate test. Memorize the whole book and be real on every word.
Yeah.
Now that's a trick because I remember now I'm not going to mention which play, or which state, or which actor because I don't want to call anyone out. But there was times when, you know, it was like all these actors are memorizing their lines. And I'd be like, I really would tell them, this is twice, this is on 2 different occasions. I would say, hey guys, I know everyone's really about learning their lines. Don't panic if I'm holding the script up until like the week of the play. Don't panic. And I said this, it rang the first time, not the second time they panicked. But it's because I really understand like the words, when you're talking, it's like you're hiding things with words. You're not showing things with words. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to learn like what we're really saying to each other.
Yeah,
Right? The words are like gonna mask it all, and the audience wants to watch what's behind the words. So why care about them? Why are we spending so much time on them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once I understand what I'm trying to say, then I know how to mask it with the words, and it all clicks.
I want to go back to something that most people don't know, and it's kind of something like it's behind the kimono, if you would. The first time I went to an audition, I thought I was going to just for them to see how I looked. And it was for a role, I forget what it was now. And I was shocked when they handed me a script when I walked in. And they said, this is what you're going to have to read. And I said, oh, like, if I get the part? And they're like, oh, no, like
Right
when you
now.
walk in that room in like 10 minutes.
Facts.
And I'm like, and so I was like, okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
Like, when things were drawn up for basketball plays or football plays in front of me, and like we had weeks and months to like learn them. Right. And I was very visual from that, you know, the triangles, the X's, the boxes. I'm like, you just handed this to me.
Right.
What do you mean? Like,
impossible.
Right. So they're like, what, you got to read it. But I was like, well, how do I read it with the emotion of what this character is supposed to feel? So my very first audition, I went in completely like I'm like, what is going on here?
Right.
I wasn't ready. And I read it, and the woman there, the casting director, was a woman and a man. She said, stop. I said, oh. She said, are you trying to be funny? And I said,
you should have said maybe.
I said, yeah. I kind of felt like it was almost like he was he was being sarcastic. It felt like that.
Yeah.
And she said, don't be. I was like, oh.
Okay.
So after I pulled the knife out of my heart,
yeah,
I read it again, but I read it from, okay, I guess I just didn't have because you're getting one scene.
Yeah.
You don't have what like led up to that. You don't know what's coming next.
No contact.
It was so uncomfortable for me, and I was not expecting that. They just hand you this, and most people don't know that.
Yeah.
So then I read it again.
Yeah.
And she said, better.
Right.
Thank you. And that was it.
And that was it.
You leave, and of course, I never heard from it. Yeah,
but,
of course.
But I'll tell you something. You were correct in thinking, I'm just going in for them to look at me. Because that's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
There's been times I've booked off of not saying anything, and there's been times I never heard from them again from not saying anything. It's all over the map. It's all over the map.
And when you walk into a room and there's 40 other dudes that look really similar to you.
Yes.
And you're like,
I want to play on that because when you started talking, I was like, he's going to say the word supposed to. And you did. And that is in line with seeing all these dudes that look like you. And this took me forever to learn. It's like, I'm still trying to learn it. Yeah. You know, I'm not there, but I know what I don't know at this point regarding this.
Yeah.
And like you do, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know I didn't know that.
Yes.
You know, it's they're really expecting actors to like lay their souls bare, and they're continuously going to do things to make you do that. You can never have preparation. You have to just like legitimately have like a. When I try to do like a role, and this is like the last 3 months, I've had this epiphany. I'm like, I'm trying to just like connect with you know how like someone says something to you and you get triggered. Like, what if I said something right now that triggers you, right? Now I triggered you, but if you walk out that door, you will be more emotional with everything else in your life. 100%,
Yes.
right? For at least another hour.
Yeah.
You just like someone will say something, you'll just react, you know?
Yeah.
So I try to like find that core nerve, you know what I mean? Before what am I supposed to do? And I swear, sometimes I'm just like, I know I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
No kidding.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I think I'll have a better shot if I'm acting in a role and they can tell I don't know, rather than I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and they almost like when an actor does that, i.e. lay his soul bare, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to do what you think. I'm just trying to do what I think, right?
Yeah.
And that's really hard to do because, again, they will give it to you in 10 minutes and it'll be 5 pages probably.
Oh, yeah. And you're like, is this for real?
But here's the thing. They saw you and they're like, there he is.
Yeah.
They saw your look and most people walked in and never even got a script.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like when they handed it to you, you leveled up.
Yes.
And you were like, oh, God, okay. Right? But it takes, as an actor, it takes like 4 of those to nail it. You got to walk in and then like expect, I've done this before. That's my whole career.
Really?
The first time of anything was never a success. Yeah. Of anything. You have to almost, and if it is, you don't know. You're almost set up for failure even more if you succeed in something you don't know about for the first time. Because now you got it in your head, right?
Yeah. Yep.
On something. Mark Twain, it ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble. It's what you think you know for sure.
Yes.
Mark
That's
Twain?
right. Yeah. Yep.
So to all the actors, just make mistakes. Like, I know that sounds so cliche.
But it's the trut.
It is the truth. That's what hurts.
But it's the
to
truth.
say.
You know.
Yeah.
So you land in LA. How old are you?
26. I broke up with my girlfriend and said goodbye to my parents.
Wow.
Well, actually, my mom, I was supposed to leave 6 months earlier. My mom had open heart surgery.
Oh.
So I was like making sure she was good. Saw her through the surgery, through the recovery. And the day she said, Kai, you can go. I said, cool.
I'm out.
Packed my Honda. Sold my family gold.
Yeah. I
Like
know.
$3,000.
Yeah.
Put it in a bank account and just drove out with like 2 best friends. Yeah.
Oh, really? So you brought a couple friends with you?
Brought 2 friends because like I couldn't drive the whole way.
Yeah.
And they were like my ride or die since I was like 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just drove, made 2 stops across the country, got here, and I hate telling stories. I don't want to say hate, but like when actors tell like lucky stories, it doesn't do good for anyone. Like I'm not gonna call any names out, but like I see famous actors telling like their lucky story, and I'm like sitting at home, you know, in Culver City, like how am I supposed to use this? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
How does this help me?
Yeah, like how does this help me? Like I'd rather talk about the hardships, but I'll talk about the trust and how that led to luck.
Yeah.
Packed my stuff, drove to LA. That was it. There was no questions. I didn't really have a set plan. I was just like, when I get to LA, that's what makes me level up in my life. That's it. That's all I knew.
So no job lined up out here?
I did. I lined up a job, but I
Okay.
did not have any friends or a place to live. But that is what gave me the green light. I got a job in finance over here, which I quit as soon as I got here. I just needed to know I had some kind of income once I got here.
Yeah.
And then once I found other income, I was like, okay, thanks, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were cool about it. But when I got here, it was kind of rough finding a place. And then this woman had a dog, and she was like, "We have a puppy. Is that okay?" I was like, I'm living here in this house. If you have a puppy, 100%. I love dogs."
Yeah.
And then that was why I lived in this house. The next day, one of the 6 people that lived in this house, it was like a commune. It was a massive commune. Walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, by the way, I'm a cinematographer at AFI. So if you ever want to shoot anything, let me know." My head exploded.
What?
I was like, "What did he just say? You're telling me I'm in with the at that time the #1 film school in the country? Like that's who I'm living with?"
Wow.
It would take me 10 years to get into this crowd.
Yeah.
And to get real relationships. Just luck of the draw.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone has something that
Yeah.
they can resource, but
Yeah.
that was mine. That was the...
So how did you leverage that?
Well, I snuck into all those classes. I am very vicious when it comes to resources and opportunity.
You gotta be.
I am like, if it could happen, I'm going to try to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, I could meet more people, so we got to go. And that's what happened. I snuck into classes, and then that turned into like having drinking buddies, like 4 of his friends with him. We would all go out to bars.
Okay.
We're drinking at a bar one day. He goes, "Oh my God, Kyle." He said this. I'm going to say it. I didn't take offense. You shouldn't either. It happens. We're drinking, and he goes, "Oh my God, I forgot you're black." Looks at me. He's looking me dead in the face. He goes, "Oh my God, I forgot you're black." Because like we don't see color these days. You know, like our generation doesn't see.
Yeah.
But he happened to be filming like a 12 Years of a Slave kind of a film.
Oh.
And he's like, "You'd be perfect." And that was my first film. But it was just one of the friends that I met while I snuck into his and then people saw it. They were like, "Oh, he was good. Isn't that Daryl's roommate?" And then it was like, boom, 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 boom. And then they graduate. And then they start casting me in the real films. Like, that's how I get into HBO. That's how I get into Amazon.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Wow.
Oh, but those relationships were built because I started personal training every girl in AFI.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that was another like thing I did. Like I was working with them, but I was like, I want to meet more people, build more relationships, and make money while I'm doing it. Well, I know how to personal train.
Just from playing sports.
Just from playing sports.
Yeah.
And I had a certificate from LA Fitness. I got it for like 3 weeks while I was at the Jersey Shore, just to get some extra money for like a week or 2.
Yeah.
And I used it. And I had about 11 clients. One of my main clients turned into a friend. And then we stopped. But then we stopped working out but then like a year later, after we stopped, she was still calling me for like roles. We were so familiar with each other.
Yeah.
She had seen me grow as a person.
Yeah,
And any level of anything you want to do, don't go for the people that are already here. Like Mike Tyson said this to that Francis guy, that UFC guy.
Francis Ngannou.
Thank you.
Yes.
I can never pronounce his last name, Ngannou. He said, you know, you knock people out, man. That means God favors you. And it seemed really dense of a conversation. But then he goes right into it. He goes, that means you're one of God's favorites, but that also means you're one of the devil's favorites. And I was like, oh God, Mike dropping knowledge. I was like, go on. And Mike Tyson, I wasn't there. Mike Tyson was like, he goes, you know, oh God, what'd he say? You're one of God's favorites. Oh, you gotta leave with who you came with in this world. You gotta leave with who you came with. Whoever brought you to the dance, you gotta leave with that person. There's too many snakes. You can't think this person brought you here. Now you're gonna jump ship that and because they brought you there and get somewhere else. Yeah. It never works. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't. I mean, don't believe me. Believe me, it may work for 3 months and then it won't.
Yeah.
But like I said, it wasn't like there was other producers. Yeah. There was more successful producers, more successful directors, more successful cinematographers. Yeah. But at that point I had my relationships and I had my connections and my trust and my love. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't like, oh, you're not making a film right now? Okay, cool. We're not gonna hang out today. I'm gonna go hang out with that person that's making a film.
Because they're filming. Yeah.
It's not like that. It's not. There's a really big balance there. Yes, I want to make films with you. Yes, I'm sneaking into your classes because I want to make films. And I'm training you because I want you to hire me. Sure, yeah. But at the same time, the ultimate connection that we build is a relationship. That's not like a business transaction. Yeah, you know what I mean. The transaction will come. Yeah. From a good relationship. Yeah. I hope. You know.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm sure you see a lot of in LA. I'm sure you see a lot of people doing the opposite, where they're just looking for
jumping ship.
Yeah, they're just looking for the opportunity.
Can't wait. Yeah. People cannot wait. Yeah. People can't wait, and it's all day. But are they here or am I? Right?
Yeah. Right. Right. So it's it's your character.
It's my character.
You know, and then I'm sure that builds a reputation too. People get known for that.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So
yeah, I never even thought about that, but someone just called me last week and they were like, Kai, you're really good. When I cancel on you, you don't care. And that's amazing. I was like, why would I
get offended?
What am I going to do? Like, you cancel. What am I going to change your mind? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You cancel, you got something to do? Fantastic. I'm going to go take a nap. I don't know. Do something. But like, I don't really have, I'm an only child. So I have no attachment to like anything.
Oh,
I have no attachment to like anything in my life. Yeah. So if it wants to do something, if it's healthy for it, I'm going to let it do it.
What was the first, let me say the first thing that you got, the first thing that you landed that made you say, oh, wow. All right.
Oh, I got it kind of a thing?
I got this.
That's a good question. No one's ever asked that.
Was it something with HBO? Was it what, like prior?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Because here's the honest truth. By the time I was getting things that I could be like, oh, look at me, I was like so jaded and so and I mean jaded in the sense of like I'm not here at all anymore for my pride. That's been beaten out of me. Okay, by commitment and by loyalty and by hard work. The pride went out the window because I understood how much it took to get here.
Yeah.
It's not me. I have to do the work. Like Kobe Bryant didn't just wake up and wasn't just a good basketball player. He trained harder than everybody else. It's not a secret. Muhammad Ali, same thing. Floyd Mayweather, same thing. Derek Jeter, same thing. Mahomes. And I'm a sports guy. Nobody is special. There's just people that work harder than others. That's it.
Amen.
That's it. That's it. And if you think that it's any different, good luck, and I'll see you at the bottom.
So what was that first moment? I had from business wise, I remember the first business transaction. I had little ones, but then there was that one that I said, oh wow, okay, I got this. Not only was I saying I'm good at this, I can do this, but it also gave me that energy to say I'm gonna just do this forever.
Just charge you up. I really did have that moment when I got that rejection.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, I'm gonna make it. I was so charged, and my agent always says this to me every time I book something. He's like, it's so unclimactic with me. He gets upset. He's like, yo, you booked it. I'm like, amazing, great. When's the shoot date? And he's like, dude, come on. Like, this is not small.
Can you give me something?
You know what I mean? Like, give me something. Do you care? And it would make him kind of worried. Like, are you gonna go? And I was, of course, bro, I'm so passionate. But like, you have to understand, I thought I got this when I auditioned for it 2 weeks ago. I wasn't waiting for you to tell me yes. I'll be disappointed when you tell me no. I'm expecting a yes, or I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? And I'm really that crazy about things. You know what I mean? Like, I really do. I did an audition 2 days ago, just waiting for the yes. If I don't hear anything, okay, you guys made a mistake. You don't have good taste. Good luck with everything.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time. This is another one. And thank you for having me on your show. It's been a while since I've done this.
Yeah.
Little nugget. I'm gonna tell you the full story. This is a little segue. My boy, he was like, Kai, you got like a little bit of a gift of gab. I'm going to meet up with some friends. All of them are in a bad way. And I was like, hold on, time out. Because like I don't really rub with people that are actively downplaying their life.
Yeah.
You have to, like, when I'm a trainer, you got to motivate yourself, and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on here? He was like, everyone's getting broken up. All right, fine. Let's go. We go, we drink, we talk. And I'm just listening to all these guys talk. And I was like, every single one of you thinks that the person that rejects you is correct. Why? Why do we automatically think the person that rejects us knows everything? Like, if I'm like, dude, I don't want to be on the show. I'm good. If I just walked off right now, you'd be like, what did I do?
Yeah.
What if I'm just crazy? But that would never, it's really hard to accept that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what if the person that rejected you is just out of their mind, or has no taste, or is blinded by something else? You did great. You can't make someone say yes, you know? And what's really interesting is when they do say yes, I don't want to guarantee, but I could probably bet most of the time someone says yes to you, and then you make that connection with that person, you find out they're a good person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're a good person, you're gonna connect with a good person. But if I'm dealing with a lot of stuff inside, because no person's ugly, hurt people hurt.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So if I'm dealing with a lot of stuff inside that day and I have the power to say yes or no to someone and I tell them no, 3 days later, I may say to myself, oh my God, I can't believe I made that mistake. I was like, I was so wrapped up, I didn't make a clear decision. And I guarantee that's usually what's happening when you get a no.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, my time when I was like, oh my God, this is it. It was a car commercial. Because it was just like a thing I just got like that, and it was one of my first things, and I was like, I was so delusional. I was like, I'm gonna be the next Denzel because of this car commercial. And like it sounds, and I had to preface it because that's so ridiculous. But by the time I was doing the General Hospital, I was just focused. By the time I was doing the HBO, I was just focused.
Yeah.
And expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. About time kind of an attitude.
I talk about visualization, and I think I talk about manifestation, and I talk about you almost have to act as if you're already there before you get there.
Correct.
Because that's the only way and people are like, oh, what are you saying? Like, fake it till you make it? I'm like, well, it's not the fake it till you make it. Right. It's just the belief in yourself that, like, example, Conor McGregor, UFC fighter.
Perfect example.
He believed he was the champion years before he was the champion.
Wait, he actually said this.
He said it on a podcast.
He said it on a podcast. He said it after a fight. Did you see the fight?
Yeah.
They were like, Conor, how do you feel? He was like, oh, I've seen this a million times in my head. He said it sweating in the octagon.
In the octagon. And I was like, wow. And then I saw the clip of the podcast where he went on afterwards and he said, hey, how do you, congrats on your championship, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, how's it feel? Like, you feel like I see this change in you, now that you're a champion. And he said, you didn't see it last time. You didn't hear it in my voice last time. I was already the champion in my head. It was already there.
Dude, that's moving.
I was already the champion.
Right.
The things just had to happen and come to fruition for me to just get now the physical belt.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Right?
It's about time.
It's about time. It's like, where's my food?
Right?
Yeah. It's not like, oh, thank you so much. Please, so I have some more.
Yeah.
It's, where's my biscuits and my croissants and my, like, put it on the plate.
Yep.
And when it finally gets there, it's like, thank you. You know what I mean?
It's here.
It's here. You're acting as if it's supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's inside, right?
Yeah.
You have to, no one's going to tell you you're a star, right?
Yeah.
My dad was pretty good in that. He was like, the one fallacy in LA that I noticed him talking, he was like, everyone is looking for validation.
Yeah.
He was like, but the only people that make it are the ones that validate themselves and act as if.
Yes.
And then everyone else falls in line.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to have that already, that belief inside of you, because no one else is gonna have. Most of the time, no one's gonna believe in you more than you're gonna believe in you. If you see someone who doesn't believe in themselves, it's hard for you to say, hey, listen, people will say empty words at that person.
You know what? And I want to piggyback off that. It's right there, because it's not, like you said, it's not like this boastful feeling. I think Chris Rock was like, people won't help you if your car dies in the middle of the road and you sit inside of it. No one will help you.
Right.
But if you get out and you start pushing your car, everyone will stop and help you.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about right now with the confidence. No one's saying we have the confidence. No, we push ourselves into confidence. I feel very insecure and very incapable all the time. I just have the skill of pushing past that. Yeah. It's not that I don't feel that. If someone hands me a script, I don't know what I'm doing until I do.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And that's that, like, star quality that I think every person has that makes it. You know what I mean? They can admit to themselves they don't know. Mm-hmm. They can look at it in bare truth and be like, I have no idea what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Right? But then go from there all the way to, I know exactly what this is. I can't wait to do it. And that's a massive learning curve.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Without ever buckling and having your own your own acting process crumble because you're just like, I don't know what this is. I think he wants to say it like this. Okay, but like 90 people are going to do that.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
But if you just sit with it, like the rejection, if you just sit with it, something's going to, I'll use an example. I had an audition a couple days ago. I was reading it. This is so boring. I was like, and this is a big movie. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do here? This is like, I'm reading it in a boring way. You know what I mean? But when I put it into practice, when I kept putting it into practice, I found all these nuances. Yeah. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I went from what is this to, oh my God, I'm bad at this. Because I knew what it was now, but I didn't know how to do it. But I know after this much experience, that's still a step up.
Yeah.
For me to go, what is this, to I don't know how to do it, that's a step up, because now I at least know what I don't know.
Yes.
And you keep moving forward. And I got that, but I don't know this. Well, I know some of that, and oh gosh, some of my life actually pertains to this. But if I hadn't just sat with it for like 10 days and been honest that I don't know, I wouldn't have been open to just that hitting me. I would have made some, quick response, and now your acting or your artwork or your conversation or your build, this isn't just acting. This is like life conducting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You just have to, on a being present basis, like, have trust in yourself.
At what point would you say you did your favorite role to date?
2020, during COVID.
What was it?
It was, I was across, Denzel's brother in American Gangster?
Yeah.
Dude, I was across from him. It was just me and him in a huge scene. And I was playing a homeless guy. And I have a massive affinity for homeless people. Mm-hmm. And guess who made me homeless? Ruth E. Carter, 2-time Oscar winner from Black Panther. She's the one that made the Black Panther outfit. So she gets to make me a homeless person. So I'm not just going to be like wearing like some big coat and a couple smidges. Like, she's going to get into it.
Oh, yeah.
So like and she's, you know, massive icon, already won her first Oscar at this point, and I go to take a meeting with her. We spoke for 45 minutes.
That's
on her.
That's unheard of. Yeah, that's uncommon.
I didn't. Mind you, this is a short film.
Yeah.
And she just won an Oscar.
Yeah.
Now, I really want to talk about that attitude, and that really changed my life.
Okay.
Here's a woman who won an Oscar, okay, doing a favor on a short film, talking to a person she's never seen before. I'm not on any billboards, okay?
Yeah.
And she's just like, she's talking to me as if I'm Denzel. She's as passionate as if she's doing a massive $500 million Paramount film in this short $30,000. And it was immediately palpable of her energy, and it was very noticeable. I was like, that's why she's so successful. I was like, you could see it. Like, it's her passion. She didn't like cutthroat all the way up. She's just more passionate than anyone else, because I don't know anybody that would have passion surpass that circumstance. Like, you won your Oscar, and now someone asks you to do a short film. I might not even still to this day be able to make that. Like, if I win an Oscar and someone calls me, they're like, hey, can you just do the short film from us? I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Right? I just know my ego, okay? Okay?
Like, what?
Like,
you know what I just won?
Short film? Bro, have someone play me in a short film and then call me, all right? Hang up, okay? Like, my ego will be through the roof. And I really hope it's not. It's not going to. But I'm just saying, like, that's where I was at that point. Like, I couldn't understand. I was so inspired by her level of, not even level, her caliber of passion. Like, she wasn't dictated by the paycheck. And that's what I really felt.
Yeah.
Like, and that's controlling. Like, what if I gave you a $100,000 paycheck? What are you gonna act like? You're gonna act just like this? You're gonna act different.
Yeah, act different. Yeah,
right.
Of course.
And if I give you a $10 paycheck after that, it's gonna destroy everything. You know what I mean? But to the person that's really cultivated their relationship with themselves when it comes to putting something on the table for everyone to see.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, that's Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's Oscar worthy. To do not just actors or Oscar stuff seemed truly worthy to me.
That's wild.
Yeah. And so anyway, we talk, she builds me up. Here's I have two really good stories about this, actually. The first one is, I was so excited to work with Ruth. Mm-hmm. Now I have a reputation for showing up to set in very comfortable clothing. Okay. I've been called, you know, that Larry, that crackhead from Dave Chappelle show?
Ashy Larry. Yeah.
Ashy Larry. Now I'm really good friends with like a lot of guys behind the camera, because I love my DPs and I love my gaffers and because they're the closest people to me on set.
Yeah.
My gaffers and my electricians are the guys who are really like walking in my airspace.
Yes.
And so if I can get comfortable with them, I'm actually like very comfortable on set. You know what I mean? More so than with the director. So I have a lot of friends. Anyway, one set they were laughing all day because I looked just like Ashy Larry, and to them I really did. I had like the exact same outfit, red beanie. My face was just like I just woke up.
Yeah.
And then they just put me in this alien costume because I didn't, whatever. Anyway, I showed up to this set very comfortable. Mm-hmm. I run right to Ruth. I don't chill. I don't really like to talk that much on set because I'm like, let's talk after I'm done.
Yeah.
But like I'm really knocking myself out of it if I start talking to you about like anything. And so I go right to Ruth, and she is obviously there before anyone because she's so passionate, and she just makes me. I mean, I'm talking. My teeth were green. My eyes. She put drops in my eyes to make them yellow. She put the stuff on my lips to make them look dry. She had my skin actually did look like I was living outside. She got like some material that made it look like that weathery. Yeah. You know how like homeless people have like an extra layer of leather on their skin?
Yes.
She got that out of like this chalk marker. What? Hat, 2 coats, 4 shirts. Yeah. Like, dude, it was nuts, right?
Yeah.
So I'm all done up within the first 30 minutes of being on set. And it was a library we were shooting in. So the book stacks are high. No one has seen me. No one's saw my face. So I'm already done up and homeless. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, my scene's maybe in like an hour and a half. Because that's a tally wait, really. If you show up on set, get ready to wait.
Yeah.
And I go for a bagel. You know what I mean? And one of the PAs runs up to me. He's like, dude, you can't touch those bagels. And like, this is during quarantine. And we had done all the protocols. Everyone has their masks on. Yeah. We're doing all the protocols. Everyone's staying 6 feet away. But I was like, oh man, maybe it's a quarantine thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was, okay. However, I have a scene soon, so I'm going to eat this bagel at some point.
Yeah.
I hope he knows that. You know what I mean? I told him, I was like, bro, I'm gonna eat this bagel. Like, I don't know what your rule is, because he wasn't giving me one. I was like, why can't I eat the bagel? He's like, you just can't have any of this food. I'm like, what are you doing? Dude, what are you doing? And I didn't say anything to him. I did a lap around one of the bookcases, came back and grabbed the bagel.
Yeah.
Right? And then everyone's eyeballing me like, dude, like one of these, like, look at this guy eating a bagel. I'm like, what is the problem? You know what I mean? But I don't care. I got a scene to do. We'll all figure it out.
Yeah.
I hear, Trueblood, you're up. Cool. Let's do it. Big scene with Roger Guenvier, Guenvier Smith, and he's there. First time meeting him, like, on set, because that's what you're gonna get cast one day, and there's gonna be a star across from you. You're not gonna get to see them until you get there on set. Right? So I'm like, okay, right? And I've loved a lot of things he's done. And anyway, director goes, action. And I just like, let it rip. You know what I mean? I just let it rip, dude. And the director, he says, cut. And he goes, that was amazing. He goes, but why couldn't I hear you? And the sound guy comes out of nowhere and he goes, he's not mic'd. And everyone throws their hands up in the air. Because I just had this, like, apparently, like, on set, you could hear me, but on the camera, you couldn't hear anything. Everyone threw their hands up in the air, like, bro, that was amazing. Were you kidding me? Why didn't you mic him? He goes, I didn't know he had lines. We thought he was homeless.
They thought you were a genuine homeless guy, like,
homeless, bro,
milling around the set. That's why he told you couldn't get the food.
That's why he told me I couldn't have a bagel. Holy cow, right? So they mic me, and Roger looks at me, and he's just like you would think. He's so cool. Did you know he was Bob Marley's favorite person?
What?
Yeah, I didn't know this. They showed me pictures. He was like, he didn't brag about it. Other people were like, dude, you know, that was Bob Marley's favorite person. And I was like, what do you mean? And they just start ripping off pictures. It's freaking Bob hugging Roger. Roger's like 15.
Yeah.
Right? He's got to be like in his 50s or 60s now.
Yeah.
But like, he's younger than Bob at this point, and Bob is just all over him. I mean, like, every picture, Bob's on him.
Oh, shit.
Incredible. So anyway, I do the scene. They mic me up, and they're getting ready to do take two. And Roger goes, you know, you do something beautiful there, baby. You got to milk that, baby. And I told him straight. I was like, Roger, listen, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know what you mean by milk it, all right? I told him straight up. I was like, I'm just going to do my job again. Yeah. I don't know what you mean. I'm not.
Exactly what I just
yeah, like, I just wanted to, like, let him know. Like, bro, I don't know if you were, because you're so big. You've done so much amazing work. My head's spinning. I don't know what you mean, bro. I don't know if that's like lingo for all you stars.
Yeah.
I'm not going to milk anything. Yeah. I don't know what it means. I don't want to mess it up. I'm just going to do what I just did again. He goes, okay. I didn't know he didn't mean okay. I thought he meant okay. So he goes, action. Goes, take two. Roger starts doing a whole different scene. 3 times the length. Complete improv. Him and I just going back and forth. Just going back and forth. I mean, he opened this scene up where it still gets me rolls on my reel. It's really such a good scene. And it's all ad-libbed and improvised by Roger. I got in my car. I was driving home. I like started bawling because I was to have someone that you look up to open you up. You know what I mean? Like to give you that opportunity. You know, like he
knew you could do it though.
That's my point. I didn't know I could do it.
You didn't know you could.
I didn't even know I could do it. He knew.
He knew.
He knew. He was like, why you did that. Correct. He was like, he's looking at me and he's like, this kid. And this goes for anyone, not just artists. Yeah. You really don't know what you can do. You never do, right? Until the opportunity presents itself, right? And it was just not to be helpless about it, but again, if you build the relationships and you trust in yourself and you really just are honest and doing what you love to do, someone, sometime, at somewhere, and this sounds so Disney, but like they're going to, I know, they're gonna open up something. They're gonna be at a level, you know what I mean? And they're gonna see something, and that's all he did. It felt like origami. It felt like, dude, if you just unflap that, you know what I mean? Yeah. And this whole like side of me popped out. I had never known. He pulled it out though. It was all him.
No kidding.
It was amazing, bro. It was the best, one of the best experiences I've ever had on set.
Do you take pause for a second when you recognized what he was doing and be like, you don't have time to react?
No,
right?
None.
You
None.
Can't sit there and say, like, what's he saying?
Like, what's happening here?
Wait,
because you see it on film. No,
yeah.
No. It's.
So you just got to go with
it. Okay, so at this point in my career, I'm actually pretty, like, I can hold my own with Roger at this point.
Yeah.
So when he started doing that, I used it for my character.
Okay.
Like, I used it as surprise for the character.
Okay.
Right. It wasn't just a genuine like, none of that. It was I actually when he opened it up, the scene was technically supposed to be me asking. He worked at a library. I'm a homeless guy. The scene was I go in and ask him for like a book of conducts because I'm trying to get arrested so I can spend the winter in jail. Oh. That's the situation. Okay. Now, Roger allows that to still happen, but then opens it up to the fact that he knows my auntie and he slips me money and he's telling me not to do drugs again, but he knows I will. And I'm like, okay. It was like, dude. And so then I'm like, when he did that, the actor that I was at this point, luckily I'd been getting coached for like 8 years by this point. And I suggest everyone like learn. Don't just think you can do it yourself. Yeah. Get a coach and get a really good one at anything you're doing. Get a master class or whatever. But at that point, I had said to myself, I'm interpreting as the character. So when he does this, slips me, all of a sudden I see him as a father figure that I never had. And it just like came out. Now I know my father very well. It wasn't something I was using for my past life. Like, I just saw him 2 days ago. But like, I flew back to Jersey to see him for like 10 days. He's great. I love him. But no, it wasn't that. It was just with the character. That was something I established, is that he was homeless because my affinity was for homeless people. It's very easy to be homeless, and that was the solid gem I was telling through my story. Yeah. It's very easy to be homeless. Do not judge a homeless person. All it takes is for you to be an only child. Neither your parents need to have brothers or sisters, and if they both die, you're going to an orphanage. And if you're in a low property value area or low income area, you're going to an orphanage. It's probably not going to actually suffice. Okay, and you probably will get kicked out before you should. Right? Because you're going to have other ruffians in there. You're going to get kicked out at 14 or 15. The percentages of you going to like a juvenile hall or just on the streets is 80%. Okay? Life is not handing you, and this is true for people. Life did not hand them favors. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Some people do. I had the opportunity to play an actual homeless man. Luckily, about a year and a half before this role. And it was a real story. Okay. It was a play. It was to get people to donate to the Midnight Mission. Have you ever seen The Soloist with Robert Downey Jr.? Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. That's a real place. Really? Yes. And it's on Skid Row. Oh, it is? Yes. It's a real place. Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah. And it's worse. I mean, they cleaned it up for the movie, to be honest, to put it in perspective. Oh. It's rough. Wow. And we're the second largest economy of homeless people in the world. India is the only person that surpasses this town. And so I just... had strong reaction to people living on the streets. Some of them want to, some of them don't. Yes. Some of them don't even know they're there. Okay. Yeah. And it's all, to me, I don't want to say tragic because I don't think they want pity. They want us to fix it. Yeah. you know? And so anyway, I just had this, he told his story and I told his story for him. Yeah. And at the end of it, he was like, it actually felt like you deserved to tell that story. And I don't know why. Okay. And it's not my acting. It's the way I was coached. It's not my skill. It's not who I am. It's what I learned, right? I learned to see images and help those images. On long story short, we got there. Yeah. But then again, when Roger starts opening it up a year and a half later, all that's still there, Yeah. And I had built a lot about a homeless man way before this. Yeah. So all that stuff started coming up too. So it was very advantageous. The whole bit was just serendipity.
Like, I feel like that's like a Slumdog Millionaire thing. Like, right? Your life experiences. Correct. Gave you that opportunity and that knowledge for that situation. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Yeah. So what's next? I mean, there's so many things that we can get into because I want to talk about the show you were on. Right. The Good Day Live. Right. How did that kind of work into like a talk show? Yeah. Like how did that come out of
Let me take a sip of matcha for this one. Yeah. So I ended up this I can send this all the way back to AFI. I can trace every single success I have back to like a single point. Really? Yeah. And I don't want to bore you, but anyway, it was from AFI, a director I knew from AFI. We very good like friends. Partied together, worked together before. Calls me up and he's like, "I'm working on this project right now. We got a guy that's been cast, but just sit tight." He's like, "We're going to shoot in March. Just sit tight." I was like, "I don't know what that means, but fine." You know what I mean? Whatever. Cool. Rolls around in March. calls me up. He's like, yo, can you do this audition for this? And it was the role was called Hot Guy. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't really think of myself as like, I'm cute at best. I don't really think of myself as hot. Like I'm not going to be on like a Ferrari magazine poster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sure, you know, I got a face, you know what I mean? But it's not like that. Anyway, I do the audition. The girl even says, who is Michelle? She even says, oh, he's too sweet. I don't think he's castable. But the guy who was in place had dreads. And she was like, that's not going to work. So then I was So anyway, I ended up being cast. And that was Michelle's show that she wrote called The Charlotte Chronicles.
Yes, Charlotte Chronicles.
Yeah, we met on that for like a day. That was it. And then fast forward like a year and a half later, she called me to do an interview because once a year, just a little segue, I write like really fast treatments, and then all my AFI buddies like give me all their equipment to shoot short films.
Okay.
So I pop out like one short film a year.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
To do like, but like I don't throw it into festivals. I just give them right to the investor. Like it's a waste of time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, what does a festival do? It's just a gloat. It's just a I don't know, like a
flex. Yeah.
it's just a flex. I don't want a flex. I want a bank account. You know what I mean? I don't care if anyone knows that I sold it, as long as I got paid for it and it's progressing, right? And it's gonna be seen in the right way. So I make a spec and so anyway, Michelle knew I was doing this. She had seen a few. I think she saw 2 of my specs, and I had been talking to Quibi before they went bankrupt. Remember Quibi?
Yes.
They were interested in the second one I did.
Okay.
And we were thinking about expanding. They go bankrupt. Anyway, she knew about all this, so she asked me to come in an interview just like this. In fact, kind of similar chairs. Yeah. It really was. It was almost identical chairs, just orange. I wonder if it is the actual same chair. But anyway, she asked me for an interview. I was talking just like this, and we ended. And I was like, I think I could host. I just like said it once, just really quick. I was like, I think I could host because I was very comfortable, and I had never done this before.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true, but still, I was very comfortable, and I enjoyed Michelle and Andy's vibe. I was like, it feels like a family atmosphere in here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you were interviewed by him yesterday.
Yeah, they're real chill.
Aren't they so chill?
Yeah.
And it's like very like, I don't know, it's very supportive.
Yeah. Yep.
Very supportive. So I could see. I just mentioned. I was like, I could see myself working here. And they start laughing. I get a call a week and a half later. They were like, would you want to try it out? Sure, let's try it out. Tried it out. Clicked like no other. And we just took off. No kidding. That was it. Wow. It was 11 months, 5 days a week, hour-and-a-half shows. Definitely an absolute adventure, life adventure.
But it's not just an hour-and-a-half show.
Right.
Because what people see is an hour and a half.
Correct.
But you're on a talk show.
Right.
And what goes into the prep prior?
Now, I want to say, Michelle needs to take a lot of that credit. Michelle needs to take most of that credit. Yeah. Matter of fact, she can have all of it. Because I made it very clear I had other things going on. Yeah. I was finishing up a film that's now in festivals, and my own film. And I was just letting him know, like, listen, I understand you asked me to be on a talk show.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I can't make a talk show. Okay? We have to make that distinction. Yeah. And I was really clear with them, and they were really awesome about that. And I got to be honest, Michelle was like, no problem. And she just took the workload by herself and just crushed. I mean, sure, I would do like something. I'll meet someone. I'll talk to someone. Yeah. I'll make the connections. But when it really came down to like the emails or continuing relationships, that was really Michelle. Yeah, she was the talk show host. I was more of like just an entertainer that happened to be on a talk show. You know?
Yeah.
She's a talk show host, like a really good talk show host.
Yeah, she was great.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's your ultimate ambition?
Ultimate ambition.
I know we're always striving for more because when we get to the one thing, then we recreate a new one. But right now, in your mind.
No, the ultimate. The one that never changes, that's always been there, that is almost unreachable. Probably not, but you know what I mean. The ultimate ambition is to affect the world in a way that just consistently makes it better.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's why I do films, because I find it so fascinating that people sit in a dark room for 2 to 3 hours and change their minds.
Yeah.
It's more powerful than a presidential election, really. Yeah. It is. You can change the entire country's mind on something, like Leo does, right? Like he wants people to understand how to take care of this planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All it takes is maybe like one or two solid effective movies to really wake people up. I mean, we do it all the time. It's just that in today's society, especially in a capitalistic society, people are more concerned with changing themselves for themselves rather than being concerned with like external issues.
Yeah, I think if more people focused on how can I put a dent in the world,
Right.
you know,
Right.
because the age-old saying, you know, you've never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse.
Right. What are we doing?
Right? Like, so, like, if that's the case,
Right.
what are we doing?
What we're doing when we do films is we immortalize certain ideas.
Yeah.
We will be the vessel. But I'm not with the whole I'm not like Achilles. I'm not worried about like my name lasting into the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to like I just find it fascinating that people get get new slices of life. I sit down in the theater, I watch a film. I have a new perspective on life, whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if it's like a good movie. Like if you walk into Jerry Maguire and then you walk out, you're gonna talk to your girlfriend differently.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
You watch like Replacements with Keanu Reeves, cheesy football movie, but you confide with your friends differently. You know what I mean? And I found that so fascinating. You don't have to play football to understand the movie,
Right.
or to have it affect you.
Yeah.
And I found that so at a very young age, very, very hypnotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I want to end on this.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to progress into a part 2,
Okay.
honestly.
Okay.
But I'd be remiss with some of the people that I work with,
Mhm.
especially in some of the communities in Jersey that we talked about the challenges of men that look like us in Hollywood.
Oh yeah. You want to go there?
I know
You're gonna end on this?
I'm gonna end on this because that's going to be the cliffhanger
Okay.
for part 2.
Okay. We have a part 2?
We're gonna we have to because I feel like we don't have enough time.
Fantastic.
I think I got to get you back in here.
I'm here for you.
But I want to end on that to let some people know because I
Yeah.
let them know that
Yeah.
when I knew you were coming on, because there is that sentiment that guys that look like us have different challenges that are, let me say, unique to us.
Yeah.
You know, in Hollywood.
Yes. But I think that's true for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't think? So you think there's a lot of other people that have a lot of different other challenges?
I think
too?
every single person has a different challenge than the next.
Yeah.
And I think our challenges are specific to us.
Yeah.
100%. And and our challenges don't have to be detrimental, but they can be, right? But they're specific to us. But everyone has a detrimental challenge. Yeah. Everyone has an obstacle, very different than our own. And I find that I'll get deep into our challenges, but I will preface with saying we cannot perpetuate our own challenges. And it's very possible, hear me out, it's very possible to do that when you think you're the only one with challenges.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
Because that's called victimization. That's called victimhood. And that's just doubling up on your own problems.
I've never heard it said that way. Can you say that again?
Maybe.
When you have this mindset that you
Yes.
feel like, I'm the only one facing adversity here. No one else is.
Correct. Then you are.
It's simply not true.
It's not true, and you're only multiplying your problems because you're magnifying your problems.
Yeah.
If I say to myself, like, I'm trying to think of a problem of mine. I don't know. No one else's car broke down last week. Well, number one, that's not true. Okay, statistically, it's not true.
Right.
But that's what happened to me. Literally, that's what happened in the moment. Like my car breaks down. All I see is all these cars flying by.
No one else's car is breaking down. Why does this always happen to me?
Why is this me? Yeah. And then I had to stop and be like, Kyle, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Zoom out. What's his face? The guy who plays the funny Batman. What's his face? Pete Holmes.
Yes.
You think you're in America right now? Zoom out. Like that's what it is. Zoom out, man. Stop. Don't. Because people come to me with their problems. Because my mom's a psychologist, so I have that energy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I try to have a very good balance of like dealing with the problem, but also let's not feed it fire. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And what's interesting is most people don't want to extinguish their problems.
No.
They find refuge in it because they feel control. It gives them a sense of control because they can identify what's wrong in some sense. Whereas in like when it's right, you don't really have much control. Everything's kind of right. You didn't make it right. You're just kind of basking in it. It's like an ocean.
Yeah.
And just chill there. Like I said, don't move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Chill.
Enjoy it.
Chill it, man. Enjoy it, man. But, when it comes down to our specific obstacles, I can go all day.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'm not going to talk like that's the only, like everyone else is good.
On easy street.
On easy street, or even has it better than us or worse than us, or what, you know what I mean? There's no way to calculate that.
Right. There simply isn't.
There's just not.
Yeah.
And so it's not my job to, woe is me. But I do like getting into it because I like solutions.
Yes.
I'm a big solution guy.
And that's what I want to jump into. That's
Part
gonna
two.
be that's gonna be the start of part 2.
Part 2.
Kyle, thank you. This is all.
Bro,
We can keep.
had a
I feel like
ball.
we go on for like 3 hours here.
Great interview, man. You're really good at this.
And I know people got some gems out of this because this is what we want. How do you motivate people to keep going, keep pushing forward, and reach their ultimate ambition?
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Kyle_.t. That's my Instagram. I post every once in a while. But that's it, really. Yeah, I mean, you can check my IMDb if you want. I mean, but you can reach out at Kyle_.t. Yeah. I'm not like a big social media guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like, I don't do much business through it.
Yeah. It's just kind of there for like people's reference.
Yeah, I'm like 75 at heart. We'll get to it on part 2.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure having you, and I can't wait to have you back. We got to do the part 2.
I can't wait.
Thanks for everyone watching. We're going to put all the links below so you could follow Kyle on his journey because we know that there's so much more to come, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see it happen.
Yeah.
Man.
We didn't even get into the films I have coming out.
I know.
Part 2.
Part 2. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Cool.